John Henry Weston, we're talking about the fight of Christendom in the West, and the fake Pope terminated the most conservative bishop, Bishop Strickland of Tyler, Texas. And I don't think any of the American bishops, I haven't heard one. I think maybe the chaplain for the military has come forward. What's happening in Baltimore tomorrow? You're organizing something or helping to organize something, I think a rosary. Is Bishop Strickland invited inside to actually attend the bishops' conference?
No. So the bishop right now has been given, basically, he's not allowed to vote. He's not allowed to meaningfully participate in the bishops' conference after being ousted by Pope Francis. He's basically left out in the cold. Now, he's a man who is very much like the fishermen, the original apostles. So he basically is taking the Holy Spirit's advice. He figured he had the ticket anyway to go to Baltimore. He was called to go there and pray. Already set up was the fact that he always did a rosary outside the bishops' conference with pro-lifers, a group called Defend Life. They've been doing this tiny little rosary rally outside of the bishops' conference every year. It's usually about a dozen people. I'm sure there's going to be slightly more than a dozen people this time. So it was already set up. So it's like a God incidence that he's there. He's kicked out of the bishops. He's not able to participate meaningfully. So he's out there praying. He's been out there praying for the last couple of days already, just walking around with 3 or 4 men praying the rosary. And that's what he does. An incredible guy. And it's going to be happening tomorrow. That's Wednesday at noon.
And where should people go? I mean, specifically, I know it's the bishops' conference, but if people want to head in from the hinterland to do this, where do they go?
Hotel right in Baltimore on the Inner Harbor there. And they'll be right outside the front doors. You can't miss them.
At 12 noon, and that's where you guys are going to congregate?
That's right. We're congregating right there, right by the front doors of the Marriott Hotel Inner Harbor.
John Henry, how, when we're at this moment, you're seeing these protests and this war is going on, and the Sharia supremacists are saying this is about the West. People are starting to cower. I can already see that people are starting to get afraid. You're going to have a number of Christian groups that do not show up today to this rally to support Israel. Is it just coincidence, because we don't believe in coincidences here in the War Room, that the Pope takes out the traditional Catholics' top person here in the United States, Bishop Strickland?
I totally agree with you. Nothing is a coincidence. It is interesting. This comes on the heels of some pretty major criticism from Pope Francis. The Catholic world has just been involved in a month-long, all of October. We had this synod on synodality, they called it. And basically, it was worried about it would be a push for blessings of same-sex unions and also a kind of women's ordination thing. Both those things happened, but the Pope held his own sort of uber synod at the time. From the people he picked to be part of it, which included the most radical pushers of homosexuality out there in the church, to meeting during the synod with all the promoters of same-sex blessings inside the Catholic Church. He held this over top, that's why I say an uber synod. During the synod, he held all this stuff, meeting with people who were banned by John Paul II and Benedict. So he's really doing a move to change the church in a very substantial way, and was called out for it by 2 major cardinals. Rome Life Forum, LifeSite News has held since 2014 every year a forum in Rome to basically stand in resistance against the creation of this new false church, which has been pushed by Pope Francis and the agenda by his new head of the Doctrine of Faith, Cardinal Fernandez. It's unbelievable because they are folks, Cardinal Fernandez would have been labeled a heretic by John Paul II, and yet now he sits at the head of the office for doctrine in the church. So it's a total revolution. There are bishops and cardinals standing against it, but as soon as you do, you can get your head lopped off, as did Cardinal Burke right in the beginning, and now Bishop Strickland.
And Cardinal Mueller. I mean, they took
indeed,
Mueller
Cardinal Mueller
also.
retired right away. And now basically still speaking out. I think one of the problems is with these courageous men who get their heads lopped off, as it were, they continue to speak. In fact, it seems like they're freed from, being constrained to taking care of their own diocese, and their voices then get to echo throughout the world. And that's certainly the case with Cardinal Muller now, and I'm sure it's going to be the same with Bishop Strickland.
For our evangelical viewers and also Jewish and other religions, this is for traditional Catholics. This has been a huge event, taking out really the person that people look to as the senior most traditional Catholic in the country, Bishop Strickland of Tyler, Texas. John Henry, you're doing such a great job of LifeSite. Where do people go to get the information? Where do they go to follow you on social media? 12 noon tomorrow at the Marriott Inner Harbor in Baltimore. Will be Bishop Strickland will be there with the Rosary, people getting together. Where do people go to get more information, John Henry?
LifeSiteNews.com. We'll be live streaming it. There'll be a special afterward with more information. If you can follow us, we're on Twitter, Facebook, even though banned there once. We're actually on YouTube as well, a secret channel after they kicked off 2 of our channels. There's a little one called LSN TV. There's all sorts of stuff, and we have our own video server on site. So if you go to lifesitenews.com, you will get absolutely everything.
John Henry, thank you so much, and thank you for fighting the good fight. Appreciate it.